Did your husband find a therapist?
Yes, he found the therapist. And what we came to find out, my mother and I, looking on the internet, was that this therapist is recommended to cross-dressers and in that community. And now she's published a book you can buy on Amazon to coach parents on how to accept their children transitioning.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just a totally unethical woman. In fact, she wrote a letter at that time after my visit for him to transition. And he went and got on hormones without my knowledge, which he took for 11 years of our marriage, which caused, obviously we had 2 more children after that, so not complete sterility, but it did cause periods of, not, definitely low libido, and we couldn't get pregnant because of those, at times. And I did have a miscarriage of twins, which, I wonder, did the hormones affect the quality of his semen? And
Is that a
did
thing?
that lead?
I don't know the science. Is that?
I don't entirely know the science, but it's possible. I miscarried twins, and it's possible that it was due to that. I don't know the science exactly, but I have to wonder. I do know that he felt guilty at the time, and he kept saying, "Oh, I caused this. I caused you to. I had cancer as a result of that pregnancy," and he kept saying that he caused it. And so it didn't occur to me till later that, hey, maybe those hormones had something to do with it. One of my children was born with a birth defect. How do I know that that didn't cause the birth defect? And a very painful and extensive surgery that she had to have.
Wow.
I don't know that for a fact. I don't know the science. I couldn't prove it one way or the other, but I think it's very careless and selfish to get on a hormone like that and not tell your partner that you're doing that, especially just from my own experience being married to someone who, definitely that affected his libido. I'm not just guessing at that. I actually read that in his exchanges with the other woman that he found online later in the marriage. And, he would stop taking them if I was asking, like, why aren't we being intimate? Why isn't anything happening there? And am I doing something wrong? And so for a lot of time, I thought it was me. I'm just not attractive. He's mad at me for something. I need to try harder. So, you never really reach the bar when you're with a narcissist, and they have, ways of kind of making you always try to reach the bar.
So you were put through just an inordinate amount of stress and wondering about yourself and wasting many of your years where you're able to have children, and in some respects where you could have been with somebody who wasn't secretly taking hormones behind your back. I mean, so that's the issue here. I think, again, some people might think, well, why can't somebody just sort of dress how they want or whatever? And I think, well, they absolutely can, but they need to inform you of that before getting married, before having kids, and then you have to have a conversation. And if he wants to do that, he's got to leave you, or you have to, you have to divorce, rather than put everybody through this and go to a therapist who's clearly just an absolute ideologue that's trying to convince you to become a lesbian.
There's just so much these men do that people don't realize, that people want to trust these men. They want to trust them. And because we've been conditioned, we're living in this world where we're looking at things through a distorted lens, especially after Bruce Jenner. And we're looking through a lens of, let's just call it tolerance. Mm-hmm. And we're really having our empathy weaponized against us. And we're forgetting reality for a minute. The reality is these are men. And it's so disordered for us to treat them like they're women. For any reason, there's just no acceptable reason to treat a man like he's a woman. He's a sex mimic. And people want to trust these sex mimics. Like, just because a man can pull it off, well, maybe they have a small frame, maybe they've got breast implants. I mean, my ex has like triple F breast. Just because a man's going around with some hair extensions, silicone in their lips, and their breasts pushed up under their chin, that doesn't make them a woman in any kind of way, not any kind of woman. We need to quit calling them anything but a man. They're a man. They're sex mimics. And people wanting to trust them, I feel like, we have some on our side of the conversation. There's definitely some on our side that, wow, That's great. You're voting for the same person I'm voting for. You're conservative in every other respect, or we want the same things. We don't want children to go through these procedures. Bravo. But how hard is that? Why are we celebrating, Bruce Jenner, for example, getting on TV and saying, oh, yeah, men stay out of the women's sports. Why are we celebrating that? Oh, yeah, kids shouldn't be transitioned. This should be common sense. This is not like, oh, yay, look, we have a sex mimic that agrees with us. How awesomely wonderful. Give me a break, man. But women like myself, trans widows, we've had an up-close look at how unethical the doctors are, how unethical the therapists are, and just how perverted and sick the men are. My ex-husband wanted to breastfeed my daughter when she was a baby. Yeah. I mean,
this is it, because as you've said, and this is an issue that, again, if people are watching this and they're new to this, this is a bit of a shock, and it might sound, oh, I don't want to be bigoted, I don't want to be against. But what you've explained is very clearly a sexual thing. People are allowed to have their sexual fetishes or whatever they have in the privacy of their own private sphere. To then involve their own children in it in some way is despicable. And I was speaking to a doctor the other day who has dealt with a lot of this, and he said there's two types generally. One is the sexual type we've just discussed. They get a kick out of it. They don't even always realize they're getting a kick out of it, but they are. And then the other type is typically autistic people who don't quite have the same sense of what gender is, and they get confused and all of those things.